Hello, Venus Fridays. Let's talk about what's going on with our divine feminine planet that represents our divine feminine expression within and without. And then also some astrological aromatherapy that will support us with the energies this week. It's all about Taurus, so much about Taurus going on right now. So we're going to talk about some essences that just help drop us into the body, are really associated with Taurus and Venus. But first, let me share my screen and we're going to look at stellarium.org software, the Stellarium software, this astronomy software of what's going on. So you can see down here in the corner, this is today, Friday, May 10th, and it's around noon. You know, the sun is about to culminate. There's so much here in Taurus that it's just all like clumped together, right? So first thing I just want to show, and I'm going to slide this down a bit. I'm going to turn the ground on so we can kind of just be oriented to where that horizon line is. So at 12:42 for me in Aspen, Colorado, here's the ascendant. Here's the descendant, and here's the midheaven, right? Venus is culminating, is right at the midheaven. I just happen to like start it up, and here's where it is. So I just want to zoom in a little, slide this down, zoom in a little more so we can kind of see. So here's the moon, that new little crescent, because we just had the Taurus new moon, is moving into Cancer today. And I want to show that because look, it's right here on this line where the hand of Orion is, right? Here's Orion's belt. Here's the constellation of Orion, and his hand in that club reaches right to this point that's 0 Cancer. So the moon is reaching here today. And this, what the sun is going to reach here on the June, I was going to say July solstice, the June solstice of when it becomes southern, it becomes summer in the northern hemisphere and winter in the southern hemisphere, right? So it's just kind of cool. I don't usually always talk about, you know, the moon moves through like all the signs over the whole month, but the moon is a big part of this week because it's really activating and coming into a dynamic relationship with like so many of the planets. Okay, so here's the moon moving into Cancer right at the June solstice point, which is just special in our lifetimes. And then let's go a couple days forward to Sunday, you know, and actually we'll go back one and see. Here's the moon on Saturday in a square with Mars, just to show what a square looks like in the sky. And it's kind of a cool thing when you can see the planet, you know, when the sun is not up and see the moon. It's something I learned from Gemini Brett is like, put your arms out to like the moon and the planet and feel this square in your body. And it's just a cool experience to be like, okay, this is what that aspect really feels like, right? Okay, so Saturday has the moon square Mars, and then Sunday we have, there's so many things I'm just going to say. So first off, the moon is sextile Venus. I'm going to just slide a little bit over here. So hopefully we can have everybody in the picture. The moon over here, Mars is still there. So here's the moon sextile Venus, still culminating at 12:42 on Sunday right there. So sextile, that's that flow geometry, right? Where there's a support. So the moon activates Venus in a flowing way, right? The moon is in Cancer here still, we show, as it moves out of the twins. That's when it finishes its time in Cancer. And here is Venus in Taurus, right? So that flow between the activation of that nurturing moon archetype in Cancer with the Venus embodiment, right? So on Sunday, there could be like a nice kind of flow of how your feelings, water, nurturing yourself helps drop you into your physical body and what feels good in the body. So Sunday's a good day to kind of focus on me, my needs, get present, drop in, take care of myself, right? That's what I would say. But also on Sunday, the moon, we said sextiles Venus, trines Saturn, squares Chiron, sextiles the sun, right? Because Venus and the sun are so close together. So the moon is in that similar relationship after it moves on from its sextile with Venus. Sextiles Uranus, because the sun is exactly with Uranus, which we're going to talk about next. And then the moon sextiles Jupiter, right? So it's like coming across, activating all of these planets that are so close together, and then finally finishes off with the square with Mercury, right? So there's so much activation because of where the moon is and where everything is together in Taurus right now. So let's go to Monday. And we're going to zoom in and I'm going to slide this down a little bit more so we can see, right? Look at all this. Venus, the sun and Uranus are so close together. Look, Uranus, just the word, the name is dropping away when I start to move because it's just not visible with the sun there, right? But here is that sun-Uranus conjunction that's happening on Monday. And I just want to show, like, let's look at Sunday, Friday. Sorry, the Uranus has gone away. Let me see if I can just bring it up so we can see it on here. Sorry, I don't know. You probably can't see this here, this pop-up that came up. But we're gonna go back to this. So here's Uranus. I'm going to turn the sun off so we can see Uranus. It's not showing the name, but here's the Uranus on Friday with the sun, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, right? So here's that exact conjunction. And so the point why I'm showing this, we're super zoomed in, but if we zoom way out, we can see it's so tight, right? The whole point of this, of my going into all this, is to say that, we can really get an overemphasis on the exact conjunction, like down to the minute, the hour, the day. But Uranus and the sun are huge and they're together for a lot of days in a row, right? It's not like this is just happening on Monday. It's happening on Sunday and Saturday and Tuesday and Wednesday, right? So it's a window of time of this conjunction. But let's talk about what this is. So I'm going to zoom back in so we can see it here. So the sun and Uranus coming together, the sun represents like our life force, right? The vital force, our vitality, our energy. And that's meeting with Uranus, which is this planet of change and evolution and growth. And, it's associated with, really unexpected events and, even sometimes, the upheaval, right? Which we're seeing a lot in our world right now, right? And we have been for a while, and we're probably going to continue to. So it's not like, I don't look at it like this day is going to be the day that kicks off the revolution, but it's like the day that is like the next piece of the puzzle of the overall change that's trying to happen. But let's take it from that macro perspective down into the micro. And what does it mean for us as individuals, right? So here it all is in Taurus, along with Venus in Taurus and Jupiter in Taurus, right? So how is our vital energy, the sun, what kind of changes, what kind of like revolution, upheaval do we need within ourselves to help us like get into the body more, right? Taurus is that sign that is encouraging us and supporting us in being in our body, being grounded, being present in the body, feeling what the senses provide for us by being in this physical body. So personally, I think this Uranus Sun conjunction can really help us to look at any changes that we might need to make, or just take some time and focus on being in the body to cultivate that life force, that chi or prana, if we use like the Chinese or the Indian terms for that energy that activates, animates us, right? So Taurus, right? So let's see what else. We have Venus on this day, on Monday as well, is in a sextile with Saturn. So we'll just span back out until we can see Saturn over here. And again, that's that dynamic relationship, not dynamic, well, it is dynamic, but that flowing aspect of support. So Saturn, there can be some resonance with Taurus, and then Venus obviously has a resonance with Taurus as well. And so Saturn, it kind of brings the walls in closer, where we start to get really clear on like, I don't want to use my energy this way, and I do want to use it this way. So I think this happening on this day further emphasizes what I was saying, right? There's a real flow of like that beingness, that feminine yin energy in the body, Taurus, and Saturn's going to help us get clear on like what it is that we want to be focusing on, so that we are cultivating and feeding and like nurturing and nourishing our vital force within our bodies. Because as we all know, if our body's not doing well, nothing else really matters, right? And another aspect of Uranus too that I really like is thinking of like, it helps us get into that universal consciousness, that universal mind aspect as well. So it really can open our awareness into the much bigger picture. So I think there's a lot of opportunity, especially as we're moving, for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, into summer, which can be like busy time, long days, lots going on. We want to be outside, you know, of like, how do I do that, but do it in a way that's really taking care of myself and being present? Taurus, I think that's one of the most special things about Taurus, is Taurus teaches us to be present and smell the flowers and feel the ground underneath our feet. Okay, so on Wednesday, I'm going to span out a little bit more. Oh, that's getting a little crazy there. We're going to kind of change it and span in. So we'll go one more day. Wednesday, here we have the half moon, right? So oh, what was I going to say? Oh, and the day before, the moon comes into a square with Venus. So that can be a little bit of an energy that like requires action. So on the heels of that Sun, Uranus conjunction, Saturn with Venus, sextile, you know, it can help us go, okay, I'm going to take the action to help me be present in my body and follow through on the things that I'm sorting out right now that would best serve my body, my presence, right? Maybe it's meditation, you know, all sorts of different things. So the moon is in this square with Venus on Tuesday, and then goes into this square with the sun for the half moon on Wednesday, the next day. I'm just making sure I got all my dates right here. Up, and let's just move it a little hour later so we can still see the moon. So I'm going to get rid of Uranus right now. You can see it written there, but here's that sun and the moon in that square, with the moon aligning here with Regulus, the heart of the lion constellation in Leo. So the half moon, the waxing half moon, gaining light. Here it is rising when the sun is culminating at its highest point, is that opportunity of like, where am I at with my new moon intention? If I set one, or, you know, my goals for this month, am I taking action? Am I doing the things to like bring that to fruition, or have I completely forgotten about that from a week ago, right? So that's what I like to think about with that waxing half moon. And it's that Leo Taurus energy, right? Off of the Taurus new moon, which are both serving self, serving soul signs in alchemical astrology. So it's a focus on, you know, myself and What do I need to do to really help myself in the ways of the goals that I have set for myself? Okay, so then on Wednesday, we just talked about that. And then what was the last thing? Oh, Mercury here moves into Taurus on Wednesday. So if there's not enough happening in Taurus, we have more on Wednesday. Mercury moves into Taurus. So Mercury, our mind, the planet that represents like our thinking, our awareness, our consciousness, now moves into Taurus as well, which is a slower thinking mind, right? A little more present, a little more like down in the body rather than cut off from it. So again, it's more support of what Taurus is really offering and teaching us during this time of the year, right? Well, it's Taurus season while the sun is there, but Jupiter, Uranus, and Venus, and now Mercury are all there as well. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show of what's happening in the sky. And then let's just quickly talk about a couple of essences to help us with all of this Taurus energy. So I talked about Rose before with Taurus, but I just want to talk about Rose again, right? Rose is that quintessential Taurus, like stop and smell the roses is a saying. And it's also associated with Venus, right? The pattern that Venus makes in the sky over an 8-year period is called the Rose of Venus. It's a 5-pointed star. So Rose is associated with both of them. And Rose is just one of those essences that really brings us into the present moment, right? It's a real heart opener. They say putting 1 drop of Rose on your heart, which I'm just going to put on my throat, balances the whole chakra system, right? So Rose is like this really powerful essence. It's considered to be one of the highest vibration essential oils made, if it's totally pure and it's made from, roses that are grown well without any chemicals, all of that, right? That's what leads to the highest vibration, the time that it's harvested, all of those kinds of things come into play. But it's just the sweetest smelling, but yet really powerful essence, right? It just kind of stops us in our tracks. So it can really help us like drop into the body, connect into our hearts, right? And open that and be with ourselves in a really like nurturing, loving way, right? Also, rose can be like a really true pure rose can be really expensive because it takes something like 22 pounds. I don't have it right in front of me, but I'm pretty sure that's it. Like 22 pounds of petals to make like a 5 milliliter bottle, right? That's what this bottle is. Like there's my finger and you can see the size of that bottle. So if that's just like not in your budget, then there's other ways that you can tune into and connect with rose, like little roses, using them, rose petals, smelling, touching, putting them on your body. But there's also the hydrolats, right? So this is the water that gets created when you make an essential oil. So the plant matter has heat underneath it and heated up water that becomes steam. It moves through the plant matter and breaks open the plant matter to release those volatile oils. It's like medicine, it's life force energy, it's spirit. And then that steam mixed with all the plant matter goes up into a cooling tube that separates out the water and the oil. And so the water is what is the hydrolat, or some people will call it hydrosol or the floral water, but it's not just putting a couple of drops of oil into water. It's literally the plant infused water that comes from the steam distillation process. So rose essential oil, rose hydrolat, is like way affordable and is another amazing way to really tune into and bring that into your body. I like even using it on my tongue and tasting it, because rose is an edible. If you're using a really clean, pure essential oil, there's a lot more you can do than just put it on your body. So I'm going to leave it at that. I was going to talk about another one, but I'm just going to stay with Rose and how much Rose can really support us with raising our vibration to match all of this Taurus energy, Venus in Taurus, the Sun, Uranus conjunction, Jupiter, all of these things to just really help us be like present with what do we need to do to be with our bodies, love our bodies, support our bodies' needs, and find pleasure with being in our physical human form. So thanks for watching. See you next week.